This is the Giant Escape 3-disc bike, and it's probably the most diverse commuter bike I've ever ridden, and here's why. About 6 years ago, I made a review on the Giant Escape and people really loved it, and it was an absolutely amazing bike, but now it's just too small for me, so I've upgraded from a medium to an extra large. I think the overall description of this bike as a sporty commuter is perfect. It's very quick and agile, but it's also quite comfortable and a bit less aggressive compared to a road bike. The design of the 2022 model is quite similar and not that revolutionary to their older models, but it works quite well. It has a slightly more upright stance compared to some other bikes, but that makes it more comfortable for commuting and casual riding. The overall construction of the bike is very solid and sleek with internally routed cables for a very clean look. And something I think is really cool is that the seat post actually is an angled piece of metal instead of just being a round tube, so that means that it doesn't tilt from side to side, so anytime you make adjustments to your seat, it's always facing the right direction, which is super cool, and I don't know what took every other bike so long to figure out. And one thing I didn't love about the bike's design were the handlebars. They were just a tad too narrow for my liking, so I replaced them and the grips with something a bit wider. This bike comes with 38mm tires that are actually quite good for road riding and for a bike of this price. They are thin enough to be quite fast on roads and smooth surfaces, but thick enough to create a bit of a softer ride, so it's a nice combination. And this bike can technically fit up to 45mm tires, and I'm actually considering replacing these for a bit bigger tires to possibly ride some gravel, a rougher terrain, or do some bike packing or something like that, so the options are fantastic to add some bigger, beefier tires. Shifting is one of my biggest complaints about this bike. Overall, the shifting is fine, but when I went to purchase the bike, it said that it would have a Shimano group set and shifting, but when I actually received the bike, it turns out it has micro shift, which is a much cheaper version and not as great as Shimano. So I found in the actual order page a tiny little asterisk saying that they could change the parts on the bike without notifying you. So that's just something to keep in mind, but overall, the micro shift works decently. It has 3 front chainrings and 7 gears in the back for a total of 21 gears. And it's not terrible, but I wish it was a bit nicer like Shimano would have been. That being said, my biggest complaint is the front derailleur. It just really rattles a ton and is not great at shifting, so I'm planning on replacing it, but that's another complaint that I have. The brakes on this bike are Tektro mechanical disc, and although they definitely don't work as well as hydraulic brakes, they still are a heck of a lot better than rim brakes. They're just way more responsive and have way more braking power, and they're perfectly enough for a commuter road bike. Alright, so here's a quick look at the actual ride quality of this bike. As you can see, it's quite fast, it speeds up very easily, accelerates very nice, and even with the micro shift shifters, it's still pretty quick at shifting, as you can see, so not terrible. It just has that rattling sound, which isn't ideal. The bike is a road bike, so in bumpier sections it does get a little bit bumpy here, but it's nothing terrible, especially with these tires, and if you lower the PSI a little bit, you can get a bit better comfort on bumpier terrain like this. And the handling on this bike is really great, especially since I added these little bit wider handlebars, but it just feels really, really good and has nice control, good turning radius, and yeah, just quick and snappy. And in terms of acceleration, it's quite easy to get up to like 20 miles an hour. And for mechanical disc, the braking actually works quite well. I mean, I fully skidded out there, but you can stop really, really quickly from high speed. And in terms of price, this bike currently costs around $650, which is really, really good in this day and age, and you can't do much better for a bike of this quality. It's quick and efficient, it's good looking, and it's very reliable, and I think for that, I can definitely recommend it to people to purchase and just have as their daily commuter, a bit of a sports bike, or maybe even a gravel conversion or bike packing bike. Anyway, that's it for today. If you like this video or if it helped you make a decision on purchasing this bike, I'd really like a like and comment down below. It really helps me out a lot. But with that said, I will see you all next time.